How you doing, man? You been better?
I'm doing a little bit better.
Amen.
When we met with you in the spring and we first asked you about Shador, you told us that growing up his nickname was Grown.
Yeah.
We just met with him and he said when Nebraska came out, Matt Rule and the team, they had a meeting, on the Buffalo, and he went in there and disrupted, and he said, he talked about my pops and I took that personally.
That's right.
In the second half, he leads your offense after a slow start. As a father and as a coach, how proud are you when you watch these moments where he takes leadership upon himself and represents not only the program, but also your family in these moments?
You're about to hear Deion Sanders say something that many people in the media, a lot of people in government, and a whole lot of people in the black community don't want you to hear. The people in power definitely don't want this kind of messaging going out to the black community whatsoever. But it needed to be said, and it needs to be said often. Be sure to listen closely to what Deion says right here.
As a father, I'm really proud of him. I'm proud of Shiloh as well, as Junior as well, doing what he does for social media. He's very mature. He's always been very mature, very astute. He studies his butt off, and he's prepared. I'm not happy that we surrendered 7 sacks, I believe, today. But once we got it going and he got his rhythm, he performed greatly. But to take the onus on himself when someone talks about me, that's how he grew up. If someone talked about my kids, I handled it. That's the expectation of a father, not a baby daddy. A father. I'm a real father, and I take pride in that. And I try to teach my sons the same. But overall, as a coach and as a father, I'm truly proud of all 3 of my sons and what they contribute on a daily basis.
While everyone is talking about what Deion Sanders is doing in the college football world, what he said right there is much bigger. As I've said many times in my videos, Deion Sanders isn't just building a winning football program, he set out to build men. And what he just said right there has to scare a lot of people. Advocating that black men must take a much stronger responsibility with their families is a message I'm sure just puts people quaking in their boots. It upsets that liberal ideology that has been entrenched in the black community for decades. It also upsets that ideology that has kept the black community down for generations. The welfare state was created in the 1960s and it's still perpetuating. Here's a fact for you, a very sad fact. Over 70% of black babies are born out of wedlock. They don't have a father in the house. Check this out. So I want to take a minute and talk to you about this article that was posted on NBC News. It's titled, "Black Struggle with 72% Unwed Mothers Rate." Debate is growing within and outside of the black community of how to address the rising rate of unwed mothers. 72% of black babies are born to unwed mothers, government statistics say. And changing that is a complex issue. I'm not sure why that's complex. It's a pretty simple thing. Men need to step up. But let's go further in this article. There's a paragraph here. It says, statistics show just what fullness means. Children of unmarried mothers of any race are more likely to perform poorly in school, go to prison, use drugs, be poor as adults, and have their own children out of wedlock. It just keeps perpetuating, and that's something that the government has allowed to happen for generations in the black community. Let's go further in this article. The black community's 72% rate eclipses that of most other groups. 17% of Asians, very low, 29% of whites, and then it jumps when you start talking about minorities, 53% of Hispanics and 66% of Native Americans were born to unwed mothers in 2008. The overall U.S. population is about 41%. But the black community is at 72%. And here's a big reason why. Nobody talks about it. You're not even supposed to bring it up. It's taboo. You might be called a racist. Even in black churches, nobody talks about it. It's like it's some big secret. But there are signs of change, of discussion and debate within and outside the black community on how to address this growing problem. Black men stepping up and actually becoming real fathers, not baby daddies, real fathers, is something that could really turn things around in the black community. And it hurts the liberal stranglehold that they have held on the black community for decades. And it also puts a huge dent in the abortion money machine that they keep pushing in the black communities as well. Can you imagine if there was a serious rebirth of the black nuclear family? If black men are compelled to be real fathers instead of just baby daddies, the political impact alone would be huge. Never mind the financial impact. The financial impact would be staggering. Imagine how many people could be moved off of welfare and have a prosperous home life. If black men focused on being actual fathers, the amount of crime in black communities would drop substantially. If black men focused on being real fathers, the amount of black young men going to jail would also drop tremendously. And if black men decided to step up and be real fathers, no doubt over time we would see prosperity rise in the black community. Young black men would learn about building a legacy, and in turn there would be a much lesser hold over the black community. It would be less liquor stores and less check cashing stores in favor of conventional retail. You can argue with me or get pissed all you want, but it's 100% factual, 100% true. There's no debating that having 72% of black babies out of wedlock has imprisoned the black community. I don't care about your feelings of inequity or oppression. That's a crutch that they have allowed you to use for many, many years. I don't blame you. It's because they've instilled that mentality in your head and they love that you feel that way. It's easier to be a victim. It's been drilled in the heads of people in the black community for generations. As you've seen lately, the government is really good at propaganda. And then there's another huge reason, much bigger reason, why people fear Deion Sanders and his influence over young black men. And that reason might be the most insidious of them all. That being that Deion Sanders has turned his own life around and is focused on God. Can you imagine what will happen if he can help other young black men to remove their focus from the secular world and start looking at Jesus and looking at God? Can you even imagine if young black men choose to focus on being real fathers and choose to follow Jesus? My God, that would be amazing. And you know that absolutely terrifies people who make their money wrapped up in the political machine of keeping the black community down. That's the reason why you'll see nobody in the media. You won't see anybody extrapolate that clip and spread it around that Deion Sanders is trying to show these young men how to be real fathers and not baby daddies.
That's the expectation of a father, not a baby daddy. A father. I'm a real father, and I take pride in that. And I try to teach my sons the same.
You even understand the strength of the words that he just said on the platform that he has. He just said that being a strong black man is fulfilling the expectations of being a real father, not a baby daddy. And for young men to teach that to their sons. That's building a true legacy. There are some baby daddies out there who really need to hear that. Spreading this message across the black community is going to have a measurable and decided impact. If you have a problem with Deion Sanders telling young black men and showing young black men that they need to be real fathers and not baby daddies, then you have to ask yourself why. Me, I already know the answer. You're afraid. Because you know what he said shines a light in the dark recesses of your life, and it's not comfortable. I applaud Deion Sanders for being a beacon of hope in the black community and for teaching these young men not to be baby daddies, but to be real fathers. If you're a praying person, go ahead and say some prayers for Deion Sanders and the young men that he's influencing, because you know they are going to be attacked. You see, it's inevitable. Evil doesn't like light, and neither do corrupt politicians with an agenda. But hey, I'd love to know what you think. Go ahead and leave me a comment. I love what Deion Sanders is doing with the football program, and I absolutely underscore and love what he's doing with these young black men, showing them how to be real fathers and not baby daddies. Let me know what you think. Talk to you soon.